Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org, back with another tutorial for the New Boston. Now, in this tutorial, we've already looked at, or in the past tutorial, we've already looked at connecting to our database. Now, to make this a lot more efficient so we can include it where we require it, I'm just going to get rid of everything in our index.php file, and I'm going to create a new file. Make sure this is enclosed in PHP tags, and the reason I'm doing this is I'm now going to save it as connect.inc.php. Now, what I can do with this now is whenever I open up a new page, let's say it might be index.php or something else.php, all I can do is up the top I can require connect.inc.php, and this way we've required this file to be to first of all exist, because require will kill the rest of the page if this can't be found. Second of all, connect connects to our database. So now what we can do is under here we can start doing things to allow us to grab some data from our database. Okay, so let's assume that we've connected to our database properly. Let's come into database and refresh from the last tutorial. Okay, we've got nothing up. So under here, let's echo maybe OK out, just so we know that it's working. Let's refresh. Okay, so we've got OK. So the first thing we know is that we've required the file correctly, the file exists. Second of all, we know that we've connected properly because we haven't killed here. So this should always come at the top of your page. So let's go to PHP MyAdmin, and inside this A database I'm going to insert some data. So we need a table first. I'm going to call this table food, and number of fields I'm going to say, let's say we need an ID field, we need the name of the food, and I'm going to say the calories and whether it's unhealthy or healthy. So I'm going to have 4 fields. So let's create these fields. We're going to ID is going to be int. We're going to have the index as primary because this is a unique, and AI, which is auto increment, is going to be yes, so we want this auto increment. Next is going to be food, and then we're going to say calories, and then we're going to say, I'm going to call this healthy or unhealthy. I'm going to call it HU. In fact, let's make it a bit easier to say healthy, unhealthy, and this is going to be equal to I'm going to say a varchar length 1. So if the food's healthy, this value is going to equal H. If it's unhealthy, it's going to equal U. The food, I'm going to say varchar of, let's say, 25, and calories is going to stay an int because we're always going to have an integer number for the amount of calories in the food. So let's go along down here, and I'm going to click save. So let's hopefully we're going to return, yep, we've returned table has been created. So let's browse. We can't browse the data, but we can see the structure. We've got ID as a primary key in int, food of a varchar 25, calories in healthy, unhealthy varchar 1. So we're storing either an H or a U for this. Okay, so let's go and insert a row of data. I'm going to put the food, remember the ID can be blank because that's automatically going to equal 1. The food, I'm going to say pizza. The calories, I'm going to say 1,000. And unhealthy or healthy, I'm going to say U for unhealthy. Let's just untick this ignore and we'll insert another row. Food, let's say salad. Calories, I'm going to say 200, and I'm going to say it's healthy, so I'm going to put an H. So let's click on go. That's inserted them 2 rows. That's successfully done. Now we can click browse and view this data. So we can see that we've got an ID which is unique, we've got the food name, the calorie amount, and healthy or unhealthy. So let's say I want to select all the data and display it. Now, to select all data, we need to first perform a query, as we've discussed, that needs to select all the data. So I'm going to create a variable called query, and this is going to be equal to some string text. So I'm going to be using double quotation marks because remember we're using singles inside the query. So this query is going to be select. Now we need to mention the field names. So select. I'm going to say food and calories. So food, calories, separated by a comma, from, oh, with a space, so from, and this table is called food, so we need to mention that, where, in fact we can encase these in here as well. So we're selecting the field food and calories, which is what we're going to display. If we needed to display, for example, the ID as well, we'd choose ID, but we don't. We just want to keep that hidden for now. So food, calories from food, where, and I want to say, in fact, no, don't want to say anything. That's it. We can specify an order by, so we can say order by ID, for example. That's absolutely fine. So order by ID. Now what we need to do is we need to actually perform the query. As far as this goes, we haven't actually executed the query within the database. If we refresh our page, you can see that nothing's happening. We're not actually executing the query. So query, I'm going to say run equals, now we're using this MySQL query function to actually run the query. So you can either use the MySQL query function on its own and insert your structured query language in there, or what you can do is just then pop that inside of it. So we're popping this query in here, and then this is running the query. Okay. What we can also do is we can use this or die, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, sorry, I've just deleted that, I didn't mean to comment that out. I'm going to say if query run equals MySQL query, then run this block. The reason I'm doing this is because if the query is successful, this will evaluate to true, and then we can continue with our code. But I'm going to say otherwise query failed. Okay, so echo query success. Now what we're not doing is we're not displaying the result of this query just yet. We're just performing the query. We can use some functions later on to display the results, but for now what we're doing is we're just saying query success if this query makes sense and returns something and is structured properly. Otherwise we're saying query failed.